has died. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
Darkness rises, and light to meet it.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Come on! This is not going to go the way you think.
Hey there everybody, welcome back to Grapevine Movie Reviews, where we only review the movies that we haven't seen. If you haven't been with us before, the way that we do this show is a group of us will go see a movie, one person will sit out, and we'll all get together, we'll discuss the movie. The person that didn't get to see it, they're going to decide whether or not they want to go see it based on the review that we do together here. Now, I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
Andrew.
Mariana.
Michael.
And we're reviewing a tiny movie. A very tiny movie. It's a small budget. No one really knows about it. You're hearing about it here first. It's called Star Wars.
Episode
Last
8.
Jedi. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. You know, you'd think by the 8th episode they'd realize that not enough people are watching these. You gotta kind of probably market them more. Maybe you should throw those porgs in some toys. Maybe get some people to buy it. Yeah. So
Don't get me started on the porgs.
So yeah, we're doing that review. Everybody else saw the movie. I'm the one that sat out this time. So let's just jump right into this. Mariana's going to give us a synopsis. We're going to get right into the review.
So, quick synopsis. The Last Jedi starts right where The Force Awakens left off. I'm going to kind of split it into 3 sections because the movie is put that way, where there's 3 main storylines that you follow. So, the first storyline is the one on the Rebel ship. They are surrounded by the First Order ships, and they soon discover that they are being tracked, even through hyperspace. So they can't run away because 10 seconds later, the First Order will be there. Oh. So on this ship is Leia and her second-in-command, who I forgot her character's name, but she's played by Laura Dern.
Holdo.
Holdo?
Holdo. It's like General Holdo.
Oh, okay. Well, played by Laura Dern, which I prefer to call her. And,
Is she related to Hodor?
Not at all.
And basically they're just trying to figure out the best way of escape. And on the ship, Poe Dameron's there. He is trying to figure out a different way that they don't agree with. And then, so this is where Finn's storyline starts off, is that he's trying to escape the Rebel ship to go do his own plan that he thinks will work better. And so he thinks that by getting a code breaker, he will be able to disable the tracker that the First Order has on the Rebels. So he goes off with this girl named Rose, who is a engineer or takes care of the plumbing. No, not the plumbing, that was Finn. But either way, she's a new character who works on the Rebel ship. And they go off to find this code breaker on this new planet anyways. And then the third storyline, which is the very last shot of The Force Awakens, with Rey handing Luke this lightsaber. And so the storyline is on that island. She asks him for training. He's reluctant. He's a grizzled old man. And she wants to learn where her powers come from. So eventually these 3 storylines somewhat intersect just barely.
Quite a bit.
By the end, but I'm saying, the reason why is the movie cuts in between these 3 storylines, and they're very distinct, separate ones.
That's 2 storylines.
3, because eventually Finn goes off on his own journey. At this point, he's no longer in the same storyline.
No, but he's still working towards the goal of
he's connected to it, but like...
But as in, he has his own mission separate. He has his own mission separate from the ones on the Rebel base, because they're just trying to escape. He's trying to disable the tracker.
But that's fair enough.
I mean, they have the same plan to escape, but I'm saying it's in a different location, different characters.
So what do you want to know about?
So let me just start off with where I'm coming from heading into this, having not seen this movie. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I've seen the original trilogy. I like those movies for the most part. I've seen the prequels. I liked them when I was a kid. More farther away I get away from them, I'm like, those aren't really that good. There's just a lot of bright colors and lightsabers and nothing really else.
And green screen.
I liked The Force Awakens enough. On initial viewing, I liked it more, and as time has gone on, I've picked at it enough where I have some flaws with it, but for the most part, I still like that movie. It's a fun little reintroduction into the Star Wars universe. I hate Rogue One because it ruins the things that I like about A New Hope.
Nothing wrong with
and
it.
It actually it undermines A New Hope in ways that upset me. So I'm not. Point being, I'm not really attached to this series in a way that I need this movie to be good.
I don't think anyone here is super attached, right?
Like no one's like, it's the best thing ever.
Because I was saying to Andy earlier, there's this sort of idea amongst some movie fans that Star Wars is like the bar for quality.
Yes.
And I disagree quite a bit with that.
I definitely agree. I agree with you on that because I went to film school, and a lot of people that I went to film school with were like, the reason I want to make movies is because I saw Star Wars. I'm like, that's great, but that's not the reason that I like movies and that I want to make movies. Those are good movies, they're fun adventure movies, but I wouldn't tie my entire existence to these movies.
They're not the epitome of filmmaking quality.
Yeah, even the originals, they're fun movies. So I guess the question that I have starting into this is and you guys are good people to ask because you guys are more closer to my camp of not really being super attached to these. Does this capture you in a way that made you enjoy the movie, made you enjoy sitting there watching it, and did it make you feel like you were part of the fandom at any point, or did you feel at one with the people that love these movies in the moment that you were watching it? I guess.
I don't know if it made me feel one with the fandom. I liked it a lot.
I can't think of a single movie that made me feel one with
That's
the
the
fandom.
thing. It's very rare that I feel fully engaged in a way that a normal movie that I love doesn't. But I was engaged with the movie. I think about as engaged as I am with a normal Star Wars movie, but I liked the content more. Okay. That's how I would go about it.
I think I was more at one with the fandom in Force Awakens, even though I had my problems with it. Even though it's his first movie, there should be enough to differentiate itself from the original series, which I didn't think it did. But at least I felt I don't know. I kind of felt the hype a bit, and I was excited during the movie. It hit all the beats. But overall, I had a problem with the characters, which they weren't very well developed. But in this one, it was just I'm like, what was the point? and the thing is, I'm fine with the movie not hitting the mark or the end not making me super excited. But I care about the journey there, and I didn't care about the journey or the characters through their journey in this movie. Whereas in the first one I did. I felt it when Rey was in trouble in the first one, whether or not you call her Mary Sue, but in this one I'm just And same thing, Finn really disappointed me in this one. I didn't care about Rose, which was his partner in this movie. I didn't care about, I guess the plan was just go and find the code breaker, break the tracker, but I didn't care about the planet they went on. I thought it looked too similar to Earth.
It does look
which is fine because there would be many planets that look like each other, but I'm saying I didn't care about the planet, I didn't care about the partner he was with, I didn't care about his storyline, I didn't care about his journey, I didn't care about the code breaker. So it was just there was no aspects of his storyline that I really felt invested in. And yeah, so overall this movie did not make me feel one with the fandom, if that's your question.
So let me redirect for Andy, I guess. A different question is there anything that you liked about the movie? Because I know that you're probably the least fan of these movies of anybody that's sitting in this room right now. You don't really... I think you hadn't watched Force Awakens until we told you that you had to go see The Last Jedi.
No, I had seen Force Awakens from a long time.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Now, the issue with me is this. I'm so not a Star Wars fan that I don't even remember the stuff you're talking about. You guys went on before we started this podcast for at least good 15, 20 minutes talking about The Force Awakens and this, and I was like, did that even happen? I don't even know. Yeah, so...
Have we all seen it just once? Because I've only seen it
Force
once.
Awakens I saw twice.
Yeah, same. And then this movie.
So I guess
So
I'll ask you,
maybe
what
I
did you
need
like
to rewatch.
as a person that hasn't seen this, but
So-
going into this movie?
Yeah,
Was
so
there
I'll
stuff
get
about
it.
it that you liked about
So I'm getting into that. So, I think the reason why I brought that up just now
Yeah.
is because I think that was the reason why I enjoyed it while I was watching it. Now, please don't take my enjoyment for loving the movie. I didn't love the movie. But at some points in the movie, I have to admit, I genuinely was like, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
What? This is good. Like, how come I haven't liked Star Wars this much before? I didn't remember liking it like this. And then there was times where I was like, I wonder what's happening in the sports world and what's happening on my phone. Wonder if someone texts me. Because at some points there was lulls. But if you want me to just talk about the good, I would say that it visually looked good.
Okay.
You're a big special effects guy. This
I'm a
this
big
movie
special
nails
effects
it with
guy.
the exception
It
of like
nailed it.
one thing. I
It
think
nailed
I
it.
think Snoke was the.
Snoke looks
Snoke
amazing.
looked amazing.
It's spectacular.
It
He
looked
looks like a
amazing.
living person.
Yeah,
I'm
he
a
did.
little disappointed with. I like Palpatine and his fucking wrinkles.
No, I mean, but from a special effects standpoint.
The only
like, this
issue
guy-
with special effects that I had was Leia Force. That's the only special effects I didn't like. But other than that,
What?
Leia Force, where
Oh,
she was
okay.
Superman and she flew back to the.
I like that.
Yeah,
Mild spoiler.
but other than that, like I said, it was beautiful. The visual effects were great. I think the acting no one was phoning it in. I actually believe that Mark Hamill, in the beginning of the movie, kind of was like, what are you trying to do here? And then he found his groove,
Yeah.
and he was amazing. I
think
love Mark Hamill.
It's his best performance. As
Yeah,
Luke.
I think so.
I
But
mean-
he started off like, I don't know if I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, because at first I was kind of. If you've seen any of the recent Bruce Willis movies, he really phones it in. He's like a grizzled. It's not just his character's grizzled. It's like I don't want to be here. I'm pissed off about this.
Right.
Bruce
And
Willis'
then-
soul
and then
is
I-
grizzled.
And then, so at the beginning of this movie, I was like, "Oh no, is this Mark Hamill phoning it in?" But then it really plays in. And
That man
it,
can't
yeah.
phone it in. He's
And the last thing I want to touch on
Super
before is I love seeing Yoda back. And the
Puppets.
puppet Yoda. Puppet Yoda.
That's a little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
I guess we said it before, so spoilers are here. Yeah, Yoda was back. Okay.
Yeah, puppet Yoda.
Okay.
Anyway, Yash, what do you think?
All right, I love the
Puppet
fact.
Yoda.
I'm gonna go along with Andy. This didn't. I enjoyed this movie because it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie, because it wasn't fan servicey. One of the things I loved about this movie was how much of a war movie this was. This was, I think, the wariest of all Star Wars movies, where you really feel like you're in the battle with the rebels, and I think part of that.
More so than Rogue One.
I was about to say
Way
more so than Rogue
way
One.
more so than Rogue One. And I think part of that is because Rian Johnson, he directs it so tight with all the character plot lines that are going on. We know exactly where the danger's at. We know exactly how close the danger is, and just the physical of the
There's almost like a timer. They're like, we're running out of fuel fast.
And you feel that throughout the entire way. I'll get more into that as we go on, but yeah, I love that aspect of the movie. He's a great director.
All right, so I know this movie isn't going to be a perfect movie because what movie is. What are the things you didn't like about it, Ash? Something you didn't like?
Do we have time for that?
Yeah, just one thing. One thing from each person. What's your most
I can't
pressing
just
issue?
do one.
What's your most pressing issue or your most pressing
I gotta
issues?
think about
one
it.
One or two.
Someone else want to?
I'll start because it's easy.
Okay.
It's Finn, not his entire story, though. I agree with Andy. And Mariana. I'm not the biggest fan of the new character Rose. She didn't offend me. She was fine. But I don't love her. But Finn's storyline, there's a certain point where it hits, and I think it just drags the movie down.
Right.
I think, and not only that, but it's not even something that needed to be there. I feel like you take that part out. It's the sort of when they're escaping
Okay.
the planet that they go to find
No,
the
their
Codebreaker.
whole plot from the beginning to the end, I felt like it was a useless plot to the movie
I
because
liked
it didn't even really do
because-
anything.
But I
And
think
it
I
led
liked
to the
that.
fact that Phasma died without any. That she was not even used.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Did you hate that whole time on the planet?
No, because here's part of the problem. I liked the planet and I liked the
When it-
idea behind the
symbols.
planet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really explore that planet. It doesn't really
Kinda does.
delve deep into the ideas that
It
were
goes
there.
at the casino and then the race tracks.
So you're saying
Yeah.
it's
Right.
too
That's
surface
enough time to
level.
get a sense of what...
It's surface level, the part that I liked about it, and then you get to that sort of action-y escape, which I think really it takes me out of the movie. It is my least favorite part of the movie. It's short.
When they're riding on those horse things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't land with me. Though Finn's storyline does pay off at the very end of the movie, which I like, but...
Let me ask you a question about Finn specifically, because he's a character from the first one that I found disappointing, because there's a lot of depth that you can go into a character that is a turncoat from the evil side to the good side. Like, he was a stormtrooper.
But was he
raised,
evil, though?
He was raised to be a stormtrooper. He's at least, like, in his mid-20s in this movie, I would assume. So you're saying, like, he was raised from a child to be a stormtrooper and then left at the mid-20s. He should be a conflicted character in the sense that I was part of... It'd be like I was born a Nazi and I've been taught to, like, kill people and oppress them in every way in my life. And at a certain point, I decided, like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to leave.
But there
should be a point of, like, conflict within himself, one, and conflict between him and the people that he's working with in the Rebels. At least one of them should be like, yo, dude, you used to be like a fucking stormtrooper and you killed a bunch of my friends that are rebels. Like, I don't trust you. And the fact that in the first movie, they never really touch on it, and it sounds like in this movie, they still don't go into depth of the character and the things
I
that
don't
he's
want
been
to say
through.
they don't. I say, number one, they've toned him down. He's not as much of a comedic thing as he was in Force Awakens.
It's not about being comedic.
No, but and number two,
things that he's been through.
number
He's been through
two,
shit.
I think the nice thing in here is his plot line is essentially learning what it means to be a rebel. And sort of showing how he's doing it in a way, it never explicitly says it, but his way of being a rebel is a little more not rebel-y, not heroic, you know? And,
He just wants to be
I think by the end you see him
Again, I think the issue
realizing that.
The issue that I'm having with what you're saying is that's not that's not a Finn thing. That's a thing. That's this movie thing. This movie, we're trying to make it about being a rebel or how it is to be a rebel. I think that there's more interesting things to do with
You
that
can't add
character.
it at this point, though. That was a problem with Force Awakens, and you can't suddenly
Exactly.
backtrack
No, but I'm
on
saying-
It
that.
would tear the movie apart if you added it.
No, but there should be, like Matt said, there should at least be a moment where maybe maybe he never felt comfortable with being part of the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was really easy for him to be like, okay, once I see the rebels, I want to go with them because I don't believe in that. But there should be a point where he's like, did I make the right choice? And there should be definitely a point within the entire Rebel Alliance, there's not a single person who's like, you were with the First Order for 20
Could have
years.
been Rose.
Yeah. I'm
it should
thinking that
have been
myself.
Rose.
Like,
It should have been
they're
her
going-
sister
again,
telling her,
they're-
look, don't trust this guy. Everyone idolizes
especially
him,
because
and I
they're
don't trust him.
Especially because they're going on an adventure together. Basically, you say they have their own plot where they go off together. It could have been like this weird buddy cop movie in its own, like a tiny version of a buddy cop movie within the Star Wars universe.
I don't think I
there's
wanted
one.
more
No.
from Star Wars.
I'm not saying make it comedic. You're going to like I don't.
I'm not saying comedic. I
buddy
didn't want
cop,
to spend any
but
more
I
time
mean,
with them than
sure.
I needed.
No. I'm saying how to make that story interesting and something that is worth watching is to have characters that are diametrically opposed to each other, learning how to coexist and how to actually care about each other while they're going off to do their own thing. Because now there's a purpose,
Perhaps, but
for
now,
that.
now we're rewriting the movie.
Right.
Though. That's the...
And if they had done that, their chemistry would have been earned better.
Yeah,
than
I
what it
don't
was.
think they have
watch,
good
I'd
chemistry.
assume.
They didn't have chemistry, and that's why what happened at the end with their characters didn't go over well with me.
And like, I'm not even talking in a romantic sense, but like Finn and Poe had better just chemistry in the short.
Finn and
The
Rey.
scenes they had
Finn
together.
and Rey
Finn and
have
Rey,
better-
Finn and Poe, they are electric in Force Awakens. Finn and Rose, they're just like acquaintances.
Because there's nothing. It sounds like there's nothing that's happening with Finn's character, really. Or
So I think
both
we're getting
characters.
off track.
But anyway,
But they weren't a big part of
Mariana.
the movies.
Mariana.
What's
Okay.
something that you didn't like about the movie?
Well, I'm not going to repeat it because, like I said, Finn's storyline was I think it dragged the pacing, and
Yeah.
that's why I felt the length. But specifically, and like we already said, Rose. But I think Rose had the two dumbest lines in the movie where it wasn't intentionally funny and I laughed because it was ridiculous. So the first one is where they go to that casino planet and they see the racehorses being like, you know how racehorses get abused? They like get whipped into form or something like that. So there's a moment where there's that and she's like, oh, look at these animals, they're being abused or something like that. And at the end, when they escape with the racehorses, he's like, we did it. We like won or something like that. She undoes the saddle and she's like, no, now we won. And meanwhile, this is a small island and the horses are all bundled up. So
They have won. They're just gonna go get them and
they can just get them back. And I'm like, they're right there and you can see the casino. They have helicopters.
The cliffside.
They can easily just go track them down and like you made no difference. They're just gonna get recaptured. Anyways, so that was one where I was laughing. Well, I didn't laugh hard because I didn't want to be rude. And then the second one,
you.
but I did snicker a little. Anyways, and the second line was whatever. Like, so she starts the movie as being a fangirl of Finn because she's like, oh, you helped with the Star Destroyer, and whatever, that's fine. And then, so she kind of has an admiration for him. And then by the end of the movie, so that's really their only conversation. The rest of the movie, they're just going through this journey, and you never really see any moment as to why they would care for each other more than just like partners. And like, because they're on the same side, so obviously they would protect each other because you don't want her to get killed. But then by the end, like minor spoilers, but kind of already mentioned it, is she says we like something to the effect of we do what we like. We do these things for the people we love.
No, and then she goes to say
the line. The line is
wait.
we should be not fighting to hurt the enemy, but to protect the ones we love.
Yeah, which is fine because
some people like the line. I didn't care.
No. But
it wasn't earned. And from what I know about Matthew, it wasn't earned. He hates that. He hates exposition. He hates pushing emotion onto people. Now go ahead.
Okay, which the line itself is fine because the love can mean a love for your like all the people on the side, all the rebels,
love for your friends.
The love of a friend. But it's the fact that right after she says love, she kisses him.
So then it makes it romantic.
So that's immediately.
Yeah. Also, it's during
like,
a war zone.
They're
standing right beside.
It's a little weird. Like something's blowing up in the background. You're like,
they're surrounded by the enemy team, and I'm like, what the fuck? and so that's two lines. And I'm like, this is just so. It was so hokey, and it was over. That's where it went melodramatic and not fun in a fun space opera kind of thing. I was like, this, like, you're being ridiculous. and like, I don't care if Finn and Rey don't end up together. Like, I wasn't attached to their romance, but like, they set up this whole thing.
I was.
Well, no, it was cute. Like, no, but I'm saying, I'm saying,
I have sadness now in my heart.
I'm saying if they had built it, if they had built a better relationship with him and Rose, I wouldn't have minded had he gone a different way. No, but I'm saying it's the fact that they did such a horrible relationship with them that I'm 100%. Like, no, go back with Rey or go back with Poe.
Right. Like I said, I want to stress the fact that I'm not a Star Wars fan and I don't even remember The Force Awakens that well. All I know is even just watching this movie, I could see the longing and the care that Rey has for him and he has for her. Again, the first thing he does is when he wakes up, he goes, "Where is Rey?" That's the first thing he said. And then she says during the movie in one of her scenes, she goes, "Please make sure that Finn gets this." Because if anything happens to me,
can I ask
make
you a
sure.
question? Because if they're setting up this thing with Finn and this new character,
but is
there another character that they're setting up for Rey now?
Poe.
Yeah.
Oh no! That upsets me.
There's not enough to judge it yet. I think it'll be good, but
no, I don't want it.
There's nothing so far.
I don't want it like that.
We're getting away from what matters.
Anyway, so let me say my thing.
I'd just be happy if it's.
I don't have a thing, by the way. They pretty much covered
it. It's leading off of hers. because it's in the very next scene. So, what was supposed to be one of the best scenes of the whole movie? Mild spoiler alert, unfortunately.
Don't spoil.
Luke comes to the Resistance base.
Don't spoil this stuff.
And I'm not spoiling it. I'm not saying anything
that's
about
really
it.
specific.
Yeah.
And that whole scene there, to me, failed.
I think he's wrong about that, but we
To
can't
me,
talk
it
about
failed. It failed because of what happened after it.
Okay,
And
don't
when
go
you
into
see it-
specifics yet.
I'm not going into specifics.
I think
I'm just saying when you see
and
it.
payoff.
Yeah.
I think it works.
I didn't think so.
I thought it was peaceful.
No, I think him showing up, it worked for me. I liked the action sequence. I liked the face-off itself, not just what the action that follows. And I don't know, it's just the reason why it didn't pay off at the end, if you know what I'm talking about. It's just because the movie didn't interest me, and not the fact that I didn't care for Luke.
No, it worked very well for me.
So none of you said porg, so I'm assuming they're the best thing in the movie.
The thing is,
I don't have an opinion. They're just there.
No, the thing is, had we not seen so
Exactly.
many porg things, they would have just, because there's other
So many
creatures
what
in this movie too.
They're
There's
the
like
little
porgs.
penguin bird things.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's other
It's
creatures.
just their way of trying to capitalize.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's because they're the cutest thing. They're basically
Was it
act
like
like
product
penguins.
placement in the movie?
Did you guys catch the
No,
second
because
thing
it
they're
feels
trying to
like
say?
They're only like
Are they
4
just
scenes,
the one that
and
shoots
they're
the
very
mega?
small scenes.
No.
Is it those ice glass?
No, they're trying to sell
boxes?
the freaking ring that comes up and it's the rebel symbol.
Yeah.
That they end the movie on that too.
Yeah, I know.
Stop thinking of it like that,
But
though.
I know, but that's
You can point to things in every single franchise movie and be like, they're trying to sell that. They're
No,
trying
the
to sell
pork
that.
thing, they're trying to sell for sure, 100%.
The pork, no, because they were already. But like the ring, like really, it's a plot device.
is a plot device.
It's been in things before in Star Wars as well, and some of the
Really?
extended stuff. Not in the movies, but like it's a thing already.
okay.
No,
So you bring up the extended stuff. So let me ask you this. I have been looking into the fan reaction to this movie, and I see that it's very split. It seems to be a very polarized movie. And some fans feel like it's ruining Star Wars, and some fans feel like they like the refreshing changes of it, and they seem to be battling with each other. I don't know where I'm going to come out on this because I haven't seen it, but where do you guys come out on this battle here? Like, do you think that this movie undercut Star Wars in any way, or if it does, do you enjoy that, or like what's?
I think it just comes down to taste, and if you're gonna watch a movie that is a well put together movie, even if it doesn't do everything that you want it to, and be like, oh, it's destroyed my universe, just stop watching the movies.
I think a key part of this is the whoever's making the movie has to approach it without thinking what the fans are gonna say about the
No,
movie.
I think exactly that's what he wanted to do. He knew
No.
the audience expectation,
And he did the opposite.
But in a confidence way. Like, I think J.J. Abrams messed up in the sense that he cared a little too much and he made it too fan servicey, and it didn't really.
I think he didn't make it fan servicey enough. He did
Are we
exactly
talking
the
about,
opposite.
J.J. Abrams or this director?
This director, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I'm talking about J.J. Abrams.
So that's what I'm
Yes,
saying. That's what I'm
fan
saying.
servicey.
The fans online, the ones that aren't liking, are basically reacting as if he did the opposite. He did everything that they were hoping would be a thing, wasn't, and everything that they wanted answers to, they didn't get.
He did
and
his
they
thing.
just destroyed. He basically destroyed everything that they were like fan theorying about online.
Yes. And that's what it seemed like to me, at least.
No, go for it.
Oh,
But I don't think that ruins the movie.
No.
So I don't like. That's the thing, is that the reason why I wasn't 100% on board with this movie is not because I don't care if it feels different. And if anything, I like it when they take a different tone or a different approach, and especially a different plot, because I don't want to see the same plot all the time. But it's like I said, the pacing didn't work for me, and I didn't care about any of the characters. Well, not any, but a lot of them. But like my biggest problem was that The Force Awakens kind of touched on race parentage, and in this movie they keep teasing you. There's like multiple lines where they're like, remember your parents, you know who your parents are, and then they keep
That's not teasing.
no, but I'm saying they kept building it up, and I like the
It's
reveal.
part of her journey is she's wondering who she is in the universe.
But it didn't
That's
feel
why the question's coming
But it didn't
up.
feel like a character moment. I don't know, that might be the way I interpreted it.
I think it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but it didn't feel like a character moment. It felt like a moment for the fans of like being like, here it is. Oh no, it's nothing. Which I'm fine with the nothing, but I didn't like the way that they kept building it up because that's what I was annoyed about. I'm like, just stop teasing me.
And I love how like that buildup of her self-identity, like how they show it in the island with the mirror scenes.
Yeah,
that was
and I like when wonderful. It ultimately comes down to it's basically saying you need to decide your own damn identity.
Exactly.
This movie, what it really builds up to is a couple of the main characters coming together and sort of seeing the other side and deciding where they're going from there,
even
and who
the
they
good
are
and the bad.
Yeah, and I really like that.
And the ugly.
And the ugly. Snow.
Alright, so I guess I'm going to jump into a character thing. It's probably the last thing I want to talk about.
Well, we also haven't talked about like the good things about the movie.
Yeah.
You asked Andy.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
do we want to go around and say what we like about this movie? Because
do you guys want to talk about like the mutiny and the shit politics and all that stuff that went on?
No.
If that's what you like, go
I
for
love
it.
that.
If you like it, yeah, if it's something that you liked, sure. Yeah, because Andy said things that he liked already. So
what did you guys like?
A couple things.
I'm gonna hit 2 points. Number one, I really like that. This is a movie that, for a big budget action movie, this is a fairly small movie. I like it when, like, Avengers did that, I find, where it's big, it has big set pieces, but the plot is small. It's essentially a chase scene on one side, and then a sort of meditation on Rey and Luke's side, where, there's not a lot of action happening in that part. It's them learning and discussing, and I think one of the best things in this movie, and I'm surprised more fans that are complaining aren't happy about this, is it does a really nice explanation of the Force. And this isn't like a midichlorians explanation that ruins it. It's one that I think opens it up and makes it quite beautiful. And then the other thing I love, and I see how some people don't like it because they get into the physics of it and they start upsetting themselves. But there is a moment in this movie. It is right up my alley. Is
it involving light speed?
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It is a moment of just beautiful destruction. I love that. It's a still image that I want painted on canvas and hung on my wall. I love it that much. I've watched it 4 times now because I keep hopping into the theater just to see that moment.
What are you talking about?
We're not saying anymore.
Yeah, that was dope.
Beautiful.
That was like a matte painting.
Yeah.
Not a matte painting, but
it's a painting matte.
Yeah, I make pretty good paintings.
There are some really just ballsy moments that Ryan goes for as a director.
Yeah.
And some of them don't pay off, some of them pay off.
And it's because
really big.
Like the fan get in his head.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
I'd say my favorite part of the movie was anytime Kylo Ren and Rey interacted.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Too,
so
yeah.
it happens early on, and I'm not going to tell you what happens later on, but so basically they realize that because he's the Sith and she's the Jedi of their generation, they kind of have a connection where they can kind of force talk with each other. I mean, it sounds
it's
dumb.
a little more complex.
It sounds dumb.
It's not because they're part of the generation.
Like, there's
an explanation. There's a much simpler explanation. You'll be like, oh, okay.
The way I'm explaining it sounds dumb.
But you're avoiding spoilers, so it's
yeah, but because I don't want to go.
So they're Skyping with each other
a little bit. Yeah.
No, but anytime it's like.
But it's really good.
It's like it. Like, you would think that he's just like, join me, and then she's like, no, join the good side. But it doesn't go into that. It's like, it's almost a calm discussion.
It's like philosophy.
And then he's like, you should ask about what happened to the Jedi Temple, and then she finds out, and then it's just like, Matt's still squinting at me right now. Just watch the movie.
I just don't know if I want philosophy conversation.
No,
it isn't like that. It's two people with opposing views trying to get the other to see that view.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And the
That's
way that I like
Civil
the
War.
fact, I like the fact that within that time period, so at first when they meet through that Skype call, she hates him.
Yeah.
And she tells him,
And
"You're
she-
disgusting. One day I'm gonna
shirt
find you
on.
and I'm gonna destroy
Well,
you."
the last time they saw each other was when he killed Han.
Right.
So she's like, you killed Han, like you're the worst person. And then he's just like calmly telling her, like, this is what I needed to do, and like trying to explain his side. And then eventually the conversations become calmer and calmer.
And because I feel like he got her.
They're
when
getting
she
on
was
a middle
vulnerable.
ground. Yeah.
When she was vulnerable and she was weak and she needed answers, he was there to support her. And in a weird way, he became her support system. Something that Luke was failing on as the teacher. I thought that was a beautiful.
It's very good.
It's very good how they did that.
Okay, that's fair enough. I can see that. Yeah.
So you don't want to hear about any of the ship stuff. So
What? This is you.
that wasn't my favorite part of the movie. My favorite
Yeah.
part of the movie was actually what Mariana said about the conversations, and I love how Rey's like this whole movie. She's really upset with finding her identity, and Luke's certainly not helping with that because she thinks she's the next generation of Jedi, and Luke is just unsympathetic towards that. He wants the Jedi to die. Like he doesn't want anything.
Wait, no, the line is, it's time for the Jedi to end.
He wants it to end, and one of the scenes
I think they cut the silence in the movie because in the trailer it seemed really long.
yeah,
It's good old pregnant pause.
they might do that. But the one thing happens in the movie. She goes to a forbidden part of the island, which I already talked about. It's not really a forbidden part. It's just like this symbolic thing that triggers her into like putting her faith in herself and not Luke. And she just leaves and she goes with what she feels, and that's when like the plot really like thickens. That was my favorite part of the entire movie, and just the way that scene is done, it's just on such a personal level. In the middle of this giant blockbuster movie, you have this really personal scene that the director like handcrafted by himself. Like you could really tell because he's also the writer of this movie, and I could tell that he
Which is crazy, by the way. That they let him write the movie.
did this.
After J.J.
Right?
Abrams
That
wrote the
just
first
speaks
one.
to
That's
his
very
skill.
weird.
I love this
To be
movie
fair,
because of
I
that.
hear there was a lot of like JJ was on hand anytime he wanted. He'd be like, "Hey, can I bounce some ideas off of you?" Like it was a little bit collaborative. It, like ultimately, it was Rian Johnson's choice.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like he had JJ on hand.
Yeah, so
So I just want to jump into characters as the last thing, because characters is a big thing for me. I like to see characters have arcs. I wanted to look into the soul of the characters and see if they either change or they learn something about themselves or they become different or altered by the end of the movie. And that's what gets me excited about these movies that have all these recurring characters that we see over and over again in different movies. Is there anything from the last movie, basically Force Awakens, to this movie that they grow and they change in any way? Is there anything that we, as fans, or some people just like movies, to get excited about seeing in the next movie for these characters specifically?
I'll start. I don't think any one of them grew in the way that you wanted them to grow.
I think the closest would be Rey, just because.
So it doesn't mean they didn't grow.
Actually,
They did.
Yeah, they
but,
did
like,
grow, but
not in the way you
not the way
necessarily
that
think.
Matt is going with it. However, Mariana was touching on Rey, but I think the person that grew the most.
Oh, Kylo.
No,
Luke.
Oh,
I knew it.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me mad, because he's not even...
No, it's good though.
It's a good growth.
Yeah.
It's a good growth because he.
Then how did you not like his arc then?
I didn't say I didn't like
Or
his arc.
his whole thing?
I didn't like how he was playing the character in the beginning of the movie, and then he rolled into his form, and at the for the other 80% of the movie he was great.
Yeah,
but the first like 15-20 minutes when he was on screen, I was like, what is he trying to do? It was kind of like having to get used to Christian Bale's Batman voice. You know, when you first heard it. And then after that, you were like, okay, I get this.
Anyway, going into how he grows.
So he grows. I don't want to give away anything about his arc, but I feel like I told you about Puppet Yoda.
Yeah.
Puppet Yoda even had to come back and say, bro, you still haven't got to me. You're the teacher now, and you still need me. you still need me to tell you this one thing.
It's funny.
You need to grow up.
I thought that scene was going to be a little pandery.
Right.
And then it started, and I was like, I love this scene.
I loved it.
I think Kylo and Rey have really good arcs in this.
Is Kylo still a whiny little bitch in this movie?
Kylo, again, I think they toned him down as well, but I love how you still see that anger, but now he's sort of channeling it or controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
What I think they
or questioning it.
What I think they improved and it actually built upon Force Awakens is that you understand why he's a whiny little bitch. And it's a good reason, because why wouldn't you be a whiny little bitch after that?
Yeah.
It's
He's very conflicted.
He's his character, he's a fanboy of Darth Vader. So he's on the most base level, he's trying to follow Darth Vader, like his character. And he doesn't exactly know how to do that, and he's still young. He's still Snoke is still his superior in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of touch.
He's definitely not Snoke's level.
Because they
no.
So he still needs to learn as well.
No, but they kind of touch on it in Force Awakens, where the reason why Luke left, like I think Leia said it or something like that, where Leia said Luke left because something happened to the Jedi Temple where he was teaching all these young kids, where Kylo was one of them. And then that temple burned down and something happened, but you don't know exactly what. And in this movie, they delve onto what actually happened. And so I understand where Kylo's coming from, and in a way, he's like, you kind of get a more well-rounded look as to why he acts this way. And I think his backstory actually plays well in how he's acting. So I like it.
I think the other character
But it's not really growth, though.
It's not growth.
Yeah.
It's just
but
here's
it's
the backstory.
It's strengthening.
Yeah.
I still think he's conflicted, though. I think now he's kind of been like, okay, I'm either going to go here or there. I'm going to create my own path.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that path is going to take me. I really don't. But I know that I don't want to. I don't care about you.
He
I don't care about you.
He gets off that sort of Darth Vader fanboy thing, and
Well,
more is like, I have to stop this to become my own guy.
That's right.
And you were telling me before when we had a conversation about it briefly. You said that he has your favorite line in the movie about what the movie really is about, which is.
I don't know if it was him, but I think this movie has a very core theme of hero worship and what it means to be a hero and sort of the perspective of heroes. Because a lot of people have these lines where they're building up certain characters in their minds, and then you see it from the perspective of that character that's considered like legendary or a hero, and they don't see themselves like that. And I think in some cases they put people on a pedestal to their own detriment, which I really like. But the other character I think gets a nice arc is Poe. I think
there was an arc.
Not necessarily as strong, but I think his sort of thing is realizing what it means to be a leader, as opposed to he's a very
even to trust.
Yeah, like he's a very good soldier.
Yeah,
he's a good pilot.
I think they call him trigger happy.
They call him a trigger happy flyboy, and that's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
And but
that phrase.
It's a good phrase.
Trigger happy flyboy.
But like over the course of it, he realizes that leadership is making decisions and
knowing what to follow,
knowing how to follow orders and follow through on things.
Despite what the crew might think.
Yeah, I think it's a good one as well. I'm pretty interested in where he goes because I especially with Carrie Fisher gone, I think he's going to start filling the sort of rebel role. Yeah.
Okay. Like any character or any moment that you're like, okay, I'm excited to see where they're going with that.
Here's what I'm excited for. I thought he was going to direct the next Star Wars movie. And you told me J.J. Abrams is coming back. And so I'm not excited.
Oh.
I thought you were just about to tell us what you were excited for.
I wasn't going to say what I was.
In fact, that's the opposite.
I'm not excited for the next movie.
If you want to know what excites me about the episode 9, to answer your question as clearly as I think I can, is this movie, it feels very conclusive in a nice way. But
in a not so nice way, because I'm not excited for the next one because I'm like, this didn't
No,
leave
but-
me wanting more.
What leaves me excited for the next one is I now have some much more established characters, and they can go a variety of different ways in the next one. And I'm really curious what direction they're going to take these ones,
Okay.
because I think
Yeah, I see.
a lot of characters were more solidified into what role they are now and who they are. If we're saying this one really was about finding their identity,
But that's the thing.
and
is
now
that,
it's like now they can go into a real sort of final confrontation
So
or
without getting
something
too
bigger.
in depth, this movie doesn't end the same way.
It's not open ended.
Empire Strikes Back. There's no Hans
No.
frozen in carbonite. How are we gonna save him?
No, like it's
Luke's
not.
hand got cut
It's
off. He just found out that
definitely
Darth Vader's
nothing
his
like
dad.
that where it's
What's
like,
going
what's
on?
going to happen next?
I can't wait to see what happens next.
It
That's
feels
not here.
conclusive in a way that's like, okay, there's definitely stuff that can happen next. There's still a few threads that I see, but they don't necessarily even like put the spotlight on those threads.
Yeah, it feels like the end of phase 3.
but
like,
that's the thing is that the most.
I'm gonna use this as final thoughts, by the way. So
the thing I want the most out of the next one is I think Rey had the most interesting storyline outside of Luke, but it's not going to be Luke's story; it's going to be hers. So I'm interested as to where she goes, and I want more from Finn because in the first movie I was just like, okay, you were a First Order soldier or plumber for 20 years. How are you not conflicted? In this movie, I didn't care about his story, so I really want him to improve it in the third one. And same thing.
John Boyega's great.
And
He's
yeah, I
also
like
great.
John Boyega.
He's really good.
And I want to see where these characters go next, but it's the final movie. They're not going to do that. It's going to be the big final showdown. And that's the thing. This is what I want, and this is what I have hope for the next one. But I know they're not going to do that because
You don't know anything, though.
J.J. Abrams is not good with character moments. He's not good at writing characters.
I think he is.
No.
I think Super 8 is quite character heavy.
Even
All
Lost
right,
is
my-
quite character
yeah.
heavy, and he writes wonderful characters in Lost. But
so I would say the thing that I'm looking forward to is Rey, but in a different way. I am looking forward to her taking Luke's advice and looking into not only the light side, but the dark side deeper. I think they touched on it a bit. I want her to really go inside herself and figure out what is attracting her to Kylo Ren. Like, why is she? I kind of feel like she's enamored by the feelings that he invokes in her.
He's so mysterious.
But at the same
Such a
time,
bad boy.
I know.
at the same time, she knows that she does not want. She knows that she's firm on the ground of the light side. But I feel that to be a real Jedi warrior, which is the old Jedi is dead, like Luke is saying, to be the next level, you have to have perfect control over the light and the dark. You can't be one or the other. It has to be both.
come back in black attire.
And I really hope that she fulfills that.
So she's gonna wear the LeBron James equality sneakers, with the white sneaker and one black sneaker.
All right. Yeah.
I feel bad, but I think I pretty much said what I needed to say about my excitement for the next movie. I don't think I'm that excited about it.
I'm interested in a lot of the stuff that I read, like to see how the fans are reacting to it, and that's really polarizing, and that you guys, have different opinions on certain things. There's stuff that really stood out to you, there's stuff that didn't. I'm not super excited to see that they're ruining the Finn and Rey relationship that I was hoping that would be in the movie, which is a little bit upsetting, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, and I'm definitely gonna go check out this movie very soon because I want to see it. Only because I want to understand why the reaction is so polarizing, and I want to see if the movie really does what I'm hearing that it does, which is give a middle finger to a lot of Star Wars fans and be like, everything that you thought was going to be a thing isn't a thing. We're not doing that for you. And those fans go, what? I thought that this was going to be a thing. Now it's not. What's happening? I want to see that. That makes me laugh. I'm laughing at those people. So I definitely want to go see that movie. I'm probably going to check it out tomorrow, to be honest. And yeah, if I'm doing grading on the 7-point scale, I'm going to give myself a nice a nice. I'm gonna give it a nice 6. I'm right at the 6. I
So
really want to go check it out.
you're excited to see it.
Very excited. Like I'm not
Interesting.
the most excited, but I'm
You're
really
on
pretty
board.
excited. Yeah, I'm on board. I want to go check this out. So I'm not going to be waiting. So that was the review for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I'm Matt,
I'm Yash.
Andrew.
Mariana.
Still Michael.
and we're going to be back when we're talking about our favorite movies of 2017, and we might even do a little bit of a look ahead into stuff that we're excited about for 2018. But let's just we'll see when we get there. Until then, like our channel, subscribe.
Leave your comments below.
Yes, I want to hear what you guys think about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and we'll see you guys back on the Grapevine.